Good morning, Fish.
Morning, everybody. Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. It's Good Friday. Excited to...
You suck at your job. Mute your mic.
Oh my god.
You know what you have to do
What?
before we continue this conversation. Mute your mic
Okay.
and do what you have to do.
Well, that's not on me. I can't do anything.
Mute your mic.
Yeah,
It's like I'm a teacher, and this is my student,
Yeah.
and as much as I tell him right, I will be better on the chalkboard, he writes something else. And what can you do? You can't fix.
It's like you're
stupid.
It's almost like you're a sensei. Like this is your dojo, and you're
Oh,
just.
if this was my
whipping
dojo,
him
I'd
with-
hit him in the head with a freaking what do they have? Those
Yeah.
samurai swords? I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
just
the
whack
wood
him in the
sticks.
head.
Whatever the hell you call
Yeah,
them.
you whack him in the head.
I'd beat the living hell out of you. I want to talk about the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Last year it was pretty simple. You're taking an edge rusher, right? We did the whole cocaine skit. It was clear as day. You have to draft an edge rusher. Aiden Hutchinson has been everything and more. I think we put out a post yesterday. He had the same amount or half a sack more, I believe, in his rookie season than Aaron Donald. And you compare him to some of the guys like Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, JJ Watt, and other edge rushers around the league. I mean, my goodness, his rookie year stacks up with the best of them. So you're happy there. How do you walk away happy from this draft, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the promising receiver. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown going into his, third season.
Yes.
You've got a backfield that needs some help, but not even needs help. It just needs to be consistent. Needs to be available and healthy. But moving past the running backs, tight end, I don't think you're going to be reaching that high in the draft for a tight end in the first or the second round. It could be wrong. Who knows? But to me, it's all the defense, and you need to walk away with a corner, and not just any type of corner, but a Sauce Gardner type. More recently, a guy that can walk in and be your one, or is that what free agency's for? Kind of walk me through this offseason and players you're looking for that you think this team needs to bring in, because we did this last year with Aiden, Kayvon, and who was the third one? Trayvon Walker towards the end, but not really. Mm-hmm. That was the conversation. What is the conversation this offseason?
It's fixing that secondary. Well, defensively, of course, because we know what this team's record would be and where they'd be at if you had a defense that wasn't even, top 10, at least top 20, not forcing a punt against Seattle, having different games where you're blowing it like Minnesota on the road. That's going to be a successful offseason if you fix this defense. And you start there in the draft. And in my opinion, you hold the 6th and 18th pick. I don't see a corner at 6 that I'm in love with that much. I don't think there's a dominant corner like a Sauce Gardner or even a Derek Stingley that you would take a risk on taking at 6, in my opinion. So if you look at the draft board and you sit there at 6, and unless he trades up, meaning Brad Holmes, I would trade back.
Is that the move?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. So you're looking at the guys that are going ahead of where the Lions pick. You're probably not going to be able to get Will Anderson, obviously not Bryce Young, Jalen Carter, CJ Stroud, Miles Murphy. If those guys go top 5, you're left with the litter of Tyree Wilson, Brian Bresee, Will Levis, Quentin Johnson. Like, these are the guys that are mocked around. It's not worth it to me. Ringo, but I don't know if I would take him at 6. You could probably get Ringo at 9, 10, 11. So if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm looking to trade back, get more assets, and maybe you can use those assets. Maybe in the second round you could trade up and get a player you like, or that the Lions pick, maybe you trade up a little higher and get a player you like. Whatever it is, I think trading back and probably taking the best corner available, whether that's Ringo. I mean, I'm going to leave that up to Brad because I like Ringo, but I'm not 100% sold on him. I mean, there's other corners I like in this draft, but I think the move is to trade back. In the first 4 picks, you have 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders. We'll see if you're able to acquire more. Man, 3 out of the 4 of those got to be defense. I mean, there's no question. At least the 2 first-rounders.
The Lions picks?
Yeah. 3 out of the first 4 picks got to be defense. I mean, if you're taking a guard, I'm okay with it. A tight end, running back, whatever the case may be.
Hypothetically,
got to fix this defense.
Brian Bresee and Miles Murphy on the board. Who are you going for?
You said Brian Bresee and who?
Miles Murphy.
Miles Murphy.
Really?
Yeah, I would take Miles Murphy because now I think you can even play Miles Murphy more on the interior as well, and you got a guy who can rush the quarterback. I don't think you can never have enough edge rushers. I'm never going to hate that idea. I mean, you might as well get a bunch of talent and see what works out. I feel like that's what the 49ers did for a couple of those years.
Let me throw this at you.
But Brian Bresee would also be nice.
We agree on
mind
defense. We agree it's defense.
Uh-huh.
But let me play devil's advocate here. What if I told you Bijan Robinson, Michael Mayer, Brian Branch out of Alabama, and Joey Porter Jr., along with Christian Gonzalez, were all available at pick 18? What would you do?
I'm thinking Joey
You've got
Porter.
a tight end, you've got
Yeah.
a running back, you've got 2 corners, and a safety.
I'm thinking either Joey Porter or Brian Branch, because Brian Branch can play in the slot. He could play in different. I mean, he could play in the nickel. But then Joey Porter, we talk about him all the time. It's one of our favorite players to talk about. So I'd probably go with Joey Porter. That solves your issue. You're at 18.
Okay.
You take a guy, falls a little bit.
Okay, cool. You've drafted so far an edge rusher.
Uh-huh.
You've drafted a corner. Now pick 48. Okay? You have your choice, and I'm going to keep pushing offense on you because I want to know if you're going to bite or not.
Okay.
Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah.
He's nice.
Would you go for a running back like Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe, out of Bama? Would you go for a quarterback? Would you go for an edge rusher, again, like a Zach Harrison out of Ohio State? That's, to me, the second round is interesting because you don't know. You just really don't. And look, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think that one makes sense. It just does. In the second round, I think it's worth a shot, preferably with the later second round pick. But if you take an interior lineman, an edge rusher, and then you take a corner with the first 2 picks, you're either doubling down on the position or you're going running back. But in this scenario...
Trust me, I got one.
Okay,
you
go
said
for
that
it.
second. Emmanuel Forbes, corner out of Mississippi State. I'm doubling up on corner because I'm telling you right now, with how bad the Lions need a corner, I get it if you want to take a tight end or a guard. I think that those positions I wouldn't hate. Maybe you can get a tight end a little later, so I'd probably push away from that. Or a linebacker, I think you can do. But I'm a big fan of Emmanuel Forbes. I've been watching a lot. My buddy goes to Mississippi State. He's been telling me about Emmanuel Forbes all year, and I turned on the film and I was watching him. Not only is a guy a ball hawk, but I love the energy. He seems like someone that Dan Campbell, they'd fall in love with. So if you double up on corner, Forbes, Joey Porter, and then there you go. We've known Brad Holmes to do that with players, positions he wants to address. You double up on them. Why not corner? I mean, I don't have an issue with that.
Let me say this. Last year, to me, it was pretty obvious. And who knows? Again, you just really never know. But last year, to me, it just felt right, man. We did this for what? 10, 12, 13 maybe consecutive weeks. It was pretty dialed in. 3 of the players they drafted in the first 5 rounds had made dozens of appearances on the show with our mock drafts.
Right.
Like, it was pretty lined up. Like, this is what they should. If it's available, here's how you do it. I think they trade back. I don't see them picking at 6. Even if Myles Murphy's available. I don't see them making a selection. I don't. The only way would be Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
That's the only one to me. But you look at pick 6. What can I get for it? Because I'm just going to take what you told me. Bryce Young's going number 2 overall, right? To Houston unless somebody trades up to 1. Stroud falls out of the top 5. But Will Levis goes 4 to the Colts.
Yep.
Who wants CJ Stroud?
There you go.
I'm taking the calls.
And who sits behind you? Raiders, Falcons, Panthers.
And what
the
do they all
Titans. Quarterbacks. Every single one of those teams. So I'm telling
And
you.
I think we forget.
Yeah.
You know, what's the market cost for a Derek Carr? He's probably getting released. I don't think anybody's trading for him. He's going to get released, and it's going to be free agent heaven for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So that would be one of my bigger concerns is I do think players like a Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason, they're going to turn some heads, man. They just are. It's the reality. Teams are going to be interested. But who's going to be willing to trade up for C.J. Stroud? Or is it trade up for Will Levis? Who knows? Who knows how the first 5 go? But to me, the more I look at 6, the more it looks like a trade back. Could be to 8, could be to 9, 11. And I don't really have a problem with it because you're drafting defense.
Right.
And if I were to revisit the 2021 NFL draft, or excuse me, the 2022 NFL draft, and I was to look at defensive players, okay, taken in the first 10, top 10, excuse me, who was can't miss, have to take them.
Last year?
Yeah,
Aiden
in the
Hutchinson.
top 10. Aiden, okay, who else?
Sauce.
Okay.
I think he was ready.
Anybody else?
Man,
I wouldn't say Kayvon Thibodeau and Trayvon Walker
yeah.
can't miss, and I'm not going to say the same about Stingley.
top 10.
But
I would say those 2 are the most confident.
I agree.
They were gonna hit.
well, let's go past the top 10.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go picks 11 to 32. which defensive players were available that were taken that really contributed to their team. Okay, let's look at Jordan Davis at 13.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Kyle Hamilton had a good rookie season, but would you consider him a big time player? It depends what your cup of
Think he
tea is,
can
but
be.
I thought he was
Yeah.
good. I thought he was good his rookie year. You look at Trent McDuffie for Kansas City, he's been pretty damn good. You look at Jermaine Johnson with the Jets, solid. Devin Lloyd, very good for the Jaguars. George Karlaftis, very good for the Chiefs. Daxton Hill, okay. Lewis Sine, okay. But then you get to the second round and it's studs like Jalen Petrie. Oh, okay, now we're going. Andrew Booth Jr. Okay, here we go. We keep going. Josh Pascal for the Lions. Take it for what you will, but Jaquan Brisker. See, I don't have to pick at 6 to get 2, 3 quality defensive players.
Yeah.
I don't. As Brad Holmes, the way I see it. Now, again, if Sauce Gardner's available or that type of player, or in this case, Jalen Carter, who I don't think will be available, well, then the pick is easy. But I don't think you're taking Kelly Ringo at 6, are you?
No, and I'd like to look at prospects in tiers, right? You look at defensively. The top tier is probably Will Anderson, Jalen Carter. I would even maybe throw Miles Murphy in there or slightly below. And then you have this next tier. And the reason why I say trade back is you're at 6. What tier of player are you getting? I mean, if you're getting a Brian Bresee, is he that top tier at 6? Are you confident he can be not even just a starter, but a really, really good player? If you don't think so, trade back to 10, 11. You could probably get a similar tier player.
Get him.
Or him. Yeah, there you go. Like, if you're not picking in the top 5, to me, it's worth trading back. I just, especially with the teams behind the Lions that need a quarterback, you could definitely get some assets for it. So, and I think Brad Holmes is the man to be in charge of that operation.
The way I see it, if you trade back, all right, Brian Bresee, probably, if you trade back to 10, you're probably not getting him. But probably 8, 9, he'll still be on the board.
Yeah.
Same with Miles Murphy.
Or there'll be other players that you'd like, probably just as much.
So let's eliminate positions from the board, okay? Pick 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, wherever you trade back, you stay put. Let's eliminate some positions. Are you taking a quarterback? Can I ask you the direct question right now?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
As of right now, no.
No.
Okay. Wide receiver?
No. You're not
Okay.
taking a wide receiver that high.
Okay. This one's tricky because I like the player a lot, Brian Branch, but I don't think you need to address safety. And as much as I like him and I think he'll be a stud in the NFL, maybe I'm biased, but I have my eyes on Joey Porter. It's that simple. I mean, that's my darling. It's your darling as well. That's who we like. That's who we love. We prefer to see him go at, pick 18? That's great, but you look at the board, man. Once Murphy and Brees are off the board,
I mean,
then it becomes, am I reaching? Am I reaching?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one team that could fuck up this entire thing. And that's the Arizona Cardinals.
absolutely.
What are they going to do? Because if they go for an offensive lineman, which they should, they need one, and they go for Peter Skronowski out of Northwestern.
Yep.
If they do that, they have handed you a ticket to Miles Murphy, Brian Bresee, or Jalen Carter. And if they're assholes and they make the right decision and they take Jalen Carter, well, fuck. So Arizona, to me, have the control of the board because it's going to be Chicago at 1. Who knows? Maybe they trade with Houston, but you would say Will Anderson? Maybe Jalen Carter. Maybe it is Jalen 1. Let's say Jalen 1. Cool. So the Bears fucked us. Great, no problem. But there's no way he's falling to 6, dude. It's just not happening.
I don't think...
Because you're going to get one of the... It's either Anderson or Carter 1.
Yep.
It's going to be Young 2. What does Arizona do at 3? Because if they go and get that tackle, well, then that leaves, if we're honest, that leaves Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, along with Brian Bresee, Miles Murphy, available at 6.
And I think Seattle...
Because the Colts will take a quarterback.
And I think Seattle would take one of those players. So if
So
Will
they have their
Anderson's
pick
there,
of the litter. Is it Will Anderson?
Yeah.
Is it Brian Bresee or Miles Murphy? Now that pick number 6 looks really good. But that is so contingent on Arizona. Because if Arizona goes interior or on the edge, damn it. You know? That's when the draft gets tricky to me. So I'm excited, man. This is going to be such an awesome offseason.